picture this. You have an enemy, a nemesis even.
Okay.
But this isn't some rival at work. It's not the economy. It's not bad luck. This enemy is much closer. It's actually living right between your own two ears.
That's a pretty terrifying way to start, but it's true for most of us, isn't it? We're talking about that inner voice, the doubt, the fear, the enemy within.
Today, we are doing a deep dive into Win Your Inner Battles by Darius Foroux. And I want to set the stage because this is not just a book of, like, think positive quotes.
Not at all. It's positioned as a field manual, a manual for warfare.
Exactly. Because, let's be honest, we live in a pretty safe world, relatively speaking. I'm not, dodging saber-toothed tigers on my way to work.
You are not. And that creates this paradox. We are safer than ever in history. We have medicine, shelter, food, and yet we are just plagued by anxiety and fear.
It's the old lizard brain problem.
It's a good metaphor. I mean, it's really the amygdala. Its only job is to spot threats. And back in the day, a threat was, a lion. Today, that same part of your brain gets triggered by a weird email from your boss. It hijacks your rational brain and just screams, "We are going to die."
That completely explains why my heart rate spikes when I get a "Can we talk" message on Slack. My body is ready for a fist fight.
But you're just sitting in a chair.
Right.
So the mission for this deep dive is to basically find the manual override for that system. We need to unpack Foroux's strategies for beating fear, for taking control, using a lot of Stoic philosophy.
And for manufacturing your own purpose instead of just waiting around to find it.
Right. Let's get into it.
So part 1, inner warfare. Foroux kicks it off with a quote from Sun Tzu.
Of course. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles.
And that's really the foundation here. If you don't get that the fear you're feeling is just a biological misfire, you'll think the threat is real.
And Foroux's argument is that while that initial trigger is biological, you can't stop that staying in a state of fear. Well, that is a choice.
Okay, I have to push back on that just for a second. Saying fear is a choice can sound a bit dismissive.
I get it.
If you're spiraling at 3 a.m. about your mortgage, someone telling you you're choosing this feels, unhelpful. It feels so uncontrollable in that moment.
That's a totally fair point. Let's add some nuance. The initial spike of fear, not a choice. That's just the alarm going off. But what you do next, that's where the choice is.
Okay.
And he breaks down fear into 2 types to help with this. First, there's fear of something just happening to you, like an accident.
Right, things out of your control.
Exactly. And then there's the fear that requires you to take action, quitting your job, standing up to someone. And he says the root of all those daily fears is one single thought.
Which is?
I cannot handle it.
I cannot handle it.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't handle getting rejected. I can't handle the embarrassment if I fail.
We're terrified of the outcome because we don't trust ourselves to deal with the fallout. So the counter tactic isn't, think positive. It's to fundamentally shift your mindset to, I can handle it.
Even if the worst thing happens, I can handle the mess.
You can handle the mess.
This reminds me of that case study in the book about Chris.
Yeah.
I think we have to talk about him because he is that 3 a.m. panic personified.
He's the perfect storm. He's a care assistant, has a newborn, and then rumors start that his hospital is about to do layoffs.
He's paralyzed. He's not sleeping. He's convinced that if he loses his job, his life is just over.
So how do you get from my life is over to I can handle it? Because just, saying the words doesn't actually pay the bills.
Right.
So Foroux walks him through this logical exercise. It's called What's the Worst That Can Happen? But you have to really, truly play the tape all the way to the end.
So walk us through Chris's tape.
Okay, so step 1. He loses the job. What happens next? Well, he gets a severance package. Okay, then what? He has to update his resume, cut back on spending. Maybe he takes a lower-paying job for a while.
None of which sounds fun.
It sounds miserable, but, and this is the key, is it fatal?
Oh.
No. Chris realizes that even in the absolute worst case, he's not homeless. He's stressed, he's working harder, but he is okay. His family is okay. The conclusion isn't, I will be destroyed. It's, this will be a huge inconvenience.
That reframe is everything. It changes the threat from a lion to a flat tire.
A very annoying flat tire.
Yeah.
And that connects to another technique, negative visualization. It's a Stoic thing, but a lot of top athletes do it. Floyd Mayweather, for instance.
Wait, I thought athletes were supposed to visualize winning. The gold medal, the cheering crowd.
It seems counterintuitive, right? But it's about desensitization. If you only visualize winning, what happens when you get punched hard in round 1?
Panic. This wasn't part of the plan.
Exactly. Mayweather would actually visualize the pain, the fatigue, the possibility of losing. So when it happened in the ring, his brain didn't panic. It just said, oh, okay, I've seen this before.
It turns the monster under the bed into just a variable you've already accounted for.
You've accounted for it. So now we've looked the enemy in the eye. What do? This brings us to part 2, control and responsibility. And Foroux has this brutally simple framework.
3 options.
In any bad situation, a toxic job, a bad relationship, you have exactly 3 choices.
Let's hear it.
Option 1, change it. Actually do something to resolve the conflict.
Option 2.
Leave it. Make a plan and get out.
And option 3, which is the hardest one.
Accept it. But, and this is a huge but, if you choose to accept it, you have to stop complaining.
Oof. Yeah, that's the one.
It's the hardest. Foroux calls complaining poison for the mind. And think about it. If you complain about your job every single night, but you aren't trying to change it and you aren't trying to leave, what are you even doing?
You're just marinating in the misery.
You're acting like a prisoner when you're actually holding the key. It's a total refusal to accept reality.
This sounds very stoic, very Marcus Aurelius.
He literally quotes him. There's that great line, "Is your cucumber bitter? Throw it away. That is enough."
He doesn't say, go on social media and complain about the cucumber.
No. Don't add a whole story of suffering to the simple fact of bitterness. This all comes down to the circle of control. You only control your own actions and your own judgments. You do not control outcomes or what other people think.
But to actually do any of this, to change or leave a situation, you need confidence. And this is another place Foroux kind of flips the common wisdom.
Totally. We have this idea that confidence is like fuel. You have to fill the tank before you can start the journey.
Right. I need to feel confident before I apply for that job.
And he says that's the confidence myth. Self-confidence without competence is just delusion.
So fake it till you make it is bad advice.
It's more like fake it and you'll get exposed. Real confidence is a byproduct. It's the result, not the cause. It's a loop. You improve a skill, you practice it, you see a result, then you feel confident.
So you have to do the scary thing first, build the skill, and the feeling comes later.
Always. And to stop people from quitting too early, he has this great little anecdote about learning how to cook.
The paper plates.
Yeah.
I love this one.
It's so smart. If your goal is to be a master chef, but you're stressed about all the cleanup, you'll never start. So just buy paper plates.
Remove the friction.
Remove the friction. Just focus on not burning the egg. You don't have to be a Michelin star chef on day 1.
And once you can make a good egg, you feel confident enough to try an omelet.
That's the loop. Small win builds competence, generates confidence. You try something harder.
Okay, so we're building confidence. We're cooking eggs on paper plates. But life eventually forces us to make big, high-stakes decisions. And that's where I get paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice.
A universal fear. And Foroux attacks it with an idea that sounds kind of dangerous at first, he says. There are no wrong decisions.
Hold on. That sounds risky. I mean, if I take all my money to a casino and bet it on red and lose, that was definitely a wrong decision.
I see why you'd say that. But you're judging the decision based on the outcome, which you couldn't actually control. His point is, we can't predict the future. You might take a nightmare job and hate it, but while you're there, you meet your future business partner. Was it still the wrong decision?
So the story isn't over when the decision is made.
The destination is always growth. That's the real metric. If a choice works out, great, you progressed. If it fails miserably, you learn something, you're more resilient now. That is also growth.
The only real failure is just staying put.
Exactly. And to make good decisions, you have to get good at saying no. He references Greg McKeown's essentialism here.
Which is so hard for people pleasers.
It's basically declaring war for your own time. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something that actually matters.
But what's the practical way to do that without sounding like a jerk?
He suggests the conditional yes. It's brilliant. You say, sure, I can take on that new project, but that means the quarterly report will be late. Which one is the priority for you?
You put the trade-off back on them.
You're not refusing. You're just clarifying your limited resources. It forces them to respect your time.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We're fighting fear, building competence, making decisions. But why? For what? This brings us to the biggest topic in the book, purpose.
And this is where we move from tactics to grand strategy. Most people talk about finding their purpose like it's a scavenger hunt.
I just haven't found my purpose yet, as if it's hiding somewhere.
Foroux says stop looking. Purpose is not found, it's decided.
That is a huge shift. You don't discover it, you manufacture it.
He brings in Viktor Frankl here. Frankl survived the concentration camps, and you realize the people who made it through weren't always the strongest. They were the ones who had a reason to survive.
He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow.
That's the quote. Meaning is a survival tool. But in our safe world, we don't need it to survive the night, so we just drift. Foroux says you have to just look at your values and skills and declare a purpose. My purpose is to be a great parent. My purpose is to build things. It's a decision.
And once you decide on a purpose, how do you actually execute that? I mean, a capital P purpose doesn't get the work done on a Tuesday morning.
Right. And this is the classic battle between goals and systems. We are obsessed with goals. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to write a book.
And you're saying goals are bad.
They're a problem.
Yeah.
A goal creates a binary state of failure. Until you hit it, you are failing. And the second you do hit it, you get this brief high and then nothing. The now what feeling.
The post-marathon blues.
The alternative is a system. If the goal is the destination, the system is how you travel. Instead of, I want to write a book, the system is, I write for 30 minutes every morning.
So you get a win every single day just by following the system.
You get the win immediately, and if we go back to our war metaphor, systems are your supply lines. Wars are won with logistics. A goal is win the war. A system is clean your rifle, march 10 miles every single day.
Everybody has the same goal. Every Olympian wants the gold medal. The system is what separates them.
The daily grind is what separates them. And consistency is the enemy of that lizard brain, which only wants instant gratification.
Speaking of that, Foroux has this great best of the blog section that gets super tactical about worry. For anyone who is a chronic worrier.
Yeah, the self-monitoring technique.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a way to exercise your worries by dragging them into the light.
How does it work?
Step 1, open a notes app. List everything you're worried about. Everything. Step 2, next to every single problem, you have to list a potential solution.
And what if there is no solution?
Then it goes into the Stoic accept bucket. But most things have a next step. Worried about my health becomes schedule a doctor's appointment. Then step 3 is you just execute one of those solutions every day.
You're turning this vague cloud of anxiety into a simple to-do list.
You kill the ambiguity. Anxiety just thrives in the abstract.
One thing that creates so much anxiety is criticism. What will people think? And Foroux talks about the need to develop thick skin.
He uses this amazing quote from Hemingway. He started talking about my writing and I stopped listening.
That is just so cold. I love it.
It's necessary. Because the core truth here, and this is a hard one to swallow, is that it's never really personal.
Even when it feels incredibly personal.
People operate out of self-interest. If they criticize you, it's almost always a reflection of their own insecurity, their own jealousy, their own fear.
It's the whole crabs in a bucket idea. One crab tries to climb out and the others pull it back down.
Exactly. And he points out that being universally liked is impossible. I mean, Gandhi had haters. Mother Teresa had critics. If you try to please everyone, you please no one, and you stand for nothing.
Which brings us all the way back to where we started. This whole conversation has been about that enemy within.
Yeah, that biological fear trying to keep us small. We talked about how to deconstruct it by realizing we can handle the outcome.
We talked about building real confidence through competence, through those small paper plate wins.
And we reframed big decisions as just opportunities for growth and replaced the whole anxiety of finding purpose with the power of just deciding.
The common thread through all of it seems to be taking responsibility.
Absolutely. It's not visualize it and the universe will provide. It's build your system, fight your fear, and you will provide.
That's empowering, but it's heavy.
It is. But it's the only place you're truly safe. If your happiness depends on external things, you're always vulnerable. If it depends on your own systems and your own mind, you are, in that Stoic sense, invincible.
Before we sign off, I want to leave everyone with one last thought from the book. It's about time.
The impatience trap.
Yeah, that feeling that you're falling behind. You scroll social media, you see someone younger who's more successful, and you panic. You feel like you're running out of time.
And Foroux makes the point that impatience makes smart people do really stupid things.
You rush, you cut corners, you take the wrong job, you settle for the wrong partner, all because you're scared of being behind schedule.
You're trying to sprint a marathon? Seneca said life is long if you know how to use it.
So the final question for you listening is this. Are you rushing because you have a destination you're genuinely excited to get to? Or are you rushing because you're afraid of what you might hear in the silence? afraid of what that enemy between your ears might say if you finally stop to listen.
That's the battle. Stop feeding the enemy. Start feeding your competence. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next time.